Welcome to another episode of Football Scientific with me, Aaron Sauter, and right from the UFL News Hub and the CFL News Hub, and now FootballAnalysisOne.com. On the UFL News Hub, I cover the San Antonio Brahmas of the UFL, and the Hamilton Tiger-Cats of the CFL, and the Cincinnati Bengals, one of my favorite teams. On FootballAnalysisOne.com, it's packed full of NFL football information. FootballAnalysisOne.com. I'm also going to talk about the IFL, the Indoor Football League, the NAL, National Arena League, and the ELF, the European League of Football today. To get us started, I'm going to introduce you to my co-host once again, Wolfie D. What up? I am Wolfie D in the house. Wolfie D in the house. Woo, boo, 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 boo. Wolfie D, what? Wolfie D, who? Wolfie D, yeah. Hoodoo, voodoo, weedoo, boo, 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 boo. Ah, Wolfie D. All right, well, that was a nice intro, Wolfie D. Thanks. I just wanted to get it in, you know. That's pretty good. Kind of busy though. So, what is our episode today, Wolfie D? It's our Prediction-Palooza! We make our UFL predictions, our IFL predictions, our NAL predictions for this weekend! Let's go! Prediction-Palooza! That's right, it is our Prediction-Palooza. So we're going to kick it off right with the UFL, okay? First of all, remember you can bet if you're into gambling, which I am not. Gambling's bad, kids. Don't be gambling. But if you're into gambling, I do use their metrics from DraftKings as my baseline for assessing how well I did in terms of my picks, okay? Predictions are a relative outcome, so how can you tell if you've done well or done poorly? Well, I judge myself against the experts of these games, the Vegas people. Their money's on the line, so they are the ones that probably spend the most time investigating these things. My money's not on the line. I am not going to risk my money for these games, okay? But coming into the UFL, we've done pretty well. We've done pretty well with our predictions in the UFL. Could be better, could be worse. A little bit of instability in the league. The more unstable the league is, the harder it is to make predictions, honestly, okay? So IFL is probably the most stable right now, but early in the season they have a lot of roster movement. We'll talk about that today. They have total roster movement today. You get ready for this weekend's games. UFL, a lot of roster movement recently, mainly a lot of coaching movements too. So that all that it creates volatility. NAL is like a revolving door of personnel. All those movements create different variables that are hard to account for until game time. Because a lot of decisions are not made until game time in the UFL, NAL, and IFL. The UFL is more organized than the IFL, and the IFL is more organized than the NAL. And the NAL is kind of a grab bag of whatever you're going to get. Okay, going up, CFL is more predictable than the NFL. The CFL is more predictable than the UFL, and NFL is more predictable than the CFL. Okay, so if I really wanted to do gambling and make money on it, I would go for the most organized league, the one that communicates the most fluently, which is the NFL. Okay, if I was going to do that. Just so you know, some betting sense there. Gambling is an addiction for many people, and I would not recommend starting it because it is built to make you addicted to it and take your money, okay? But if you were going to do it, you should go for the most stable league, okay? But that's not what we're about today. I'm just throwing that disclaimer out there. This is not about making money. This is about great football analysis, okay? So first, in the UFL, there's a lot of movement of players since earlier today. Earlier today, I put out a video to kind of catch up from the last couple of days. I've had some busy football days, so I went through and caught up, but there's been more movement since then. So first, St. Louis Battlehawks have re-signed safety Avery Young, and they cut him during training camp, but they needed to bring him back because they had to move quarterback Brandon Sebastian to the injured reserve list. He'll be out for a minimum of 5 weeks. Okay, Arlington Renegades released outside linebacker Tuzar Skipper. I think I announced it earlier today, and they signed defensive end Taco Charlton. He played at the University of Michigan. Why is that important? He's going to play this week. He's going to play against the Battlehawks. He's been signed, and now he's going to play. Boom, activated immediately. Okay, San Antonio Brahmas signed outside linebacker Nelson Caesar. He is inactive for this week. I mentioned this morning he got signed. He is inactive for this week. He played at Houston, though, and then spent some time with the Seattle Seahawks. They're trying to upgrade those edge rushers, which is a good idea. One sack Rashad Berry had 1 tackle, but they have 1 sack, I think, per game at best. Last year, they led the league in sacks. Just saying. That's a huge drop-off. St. Louis Battlehawks. That's not Avery Young. I said that. Okay, got it. Boop. Boop. Next, some players are activated for the Memphis Showboats Michigan Panthers game tomorrow. Tomorrow night, Friday night, Memphis Showboats have activated wide receiver D. Anderson, wide receiver Eli Stove, running back Jacob Caboti, kind of filling in some gaps on their roster. Michigan Panthers activated free safety Akeem Dent, defensive back Bryce Torneden, tight end Jalen Weidermeyer, and then quarterback Rocky Lombardi trying to get a spark going. Bryce Perkins is their starter, though. But they don't have much behind it. Boom. All right, next. That was the transactions leading up to the game starting tomorrow for the UFL on Easter weekend. Easter weekend. Good Friday game starts us off. Friday, April 18th. That's tomorrow at 8 p.m. Good Friday. And hopefully it'll be a good football day, game of football, but we'll see. It involves the Memphis Showboats, who are 0-3, just had their coach quit again. Ken Wisenhunt quit again. And now they got Nolan Mazzone run their offense. He ran the New England Breaker, and they may be a better team. They might be better, okay? They're playing the Michigan Panthers. Remember, they lost to the Michigan Panthers just by a little bit to start the season off, game 1. But since then, Michigan Panthers are 2-1. They beat the Brahmas last week, sad face. And Memphis Showboats are 0-3. They lost to the Roughnecks last week. That's rough. Neck. Plus. All right. DraftKings has Michigan Panthers at home, favored by 7.5 points. Memphis Showboats are 7.5 point underdog. The over-unders at 35.5. Should be a low-scoring game because both offenses are not the greatest in the world. Although Panthers did beat the Brahmas 26-23. Sad face. Sad face. Okay, next, my prediction is Panthers win 23-11. 23-11 at home. I say it's going to be an under because I don't see, and I've been wrong before. Many times I've been wrong. I don't see these teams putting up a huge number of points. I see this being a grind on both sides. Looking at transactions, both teams are going to come and try to grind out a win here. So I expect a lower scoring game. I do expect the Showboats to make a bunch of bad mistakes, giving the Panthers a chance to win the game. They've rebuilt their secondary a little bit. That's one of their weaknesses. So 23-11, Michigan Panthers. I have the total game 34, so I'm going under. And if I was going to bet on this game, I'd bet on the Michigan Panthers, probably on the money line. I can't trust them on the spread, but I pick them on the money line. Okay. Boom. Saturday, April 19th, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, middle of the day. The St. Louis Battlehawks are going to face the Arlington Renegades. All right. Battlehawks, Renegades. Oh, yeah. St. Louis Battlehawks are 2-1. Arlington Renegades are 2-1 for the second week in a row. This is a big showdown in the XFL Conference. Last week, the DC Defenders were 2-0. St. Louis Battlehawks were 2-0. They face off in St. Louis, and the DC Defenders smacked those Battlehawks. You know what I mean? Smacked those Battlehawks, okay? Arlington Renegades had a lead against the Birmingham Stallions, but really were in a tough game against them. Could not get the running game going. Were exposed for not having a great passing game to go with the running game. They have a good running game. But if you shut it down, it's going to be tough. And I'm going to say that's true for both of these teams. Okay, both of these teams have a strong running game, and they have questionable quarterbacks that need play action opportunity to throw the ball downfield. They both can run a little bit, not great. Manny Wilkins is a little better than Luis President running the ball. Manny Wilkins cannot hit a pass downfield, though. So if you take it without play action. So if you take away the running game, like DC did, Manny Wilkins is going to throw a bunch of interceptions because he's not good under pressure. Okay? And that's why he threw 4 interceptions last week. Yikes. Setting up the DC Defenders for a big win against St. Louis. Arlington Renegades are in a very similar boat. If he can't get the running game going, Luis Perez struggles. Now, he's not going to poop the bed like Manny Wilkins. So that's a difference maker in this game. Okay, in my mind, that's a difference maker. The Battlehawks will not have Hakeem Butler again. They will have quarterback Miles Jones. Arlington Renegades will have defensive end Taco Charlton, which I think will be a big difference maker for the Arlington Renegades, although they have a pretty good defensive line. I think Joel Powell's going to be a kick returner for them. He might make an impact in the game. Okay, all right. So, DraftKings has St. Louis Battlehawks favored on the road by 1.5 points. Okay, Arlington Renegades are underdog by 1.5 points. Here's what I think. I think DC showed the template for beating the St. Louis Battlehawks. Okay, and that template is easy, man. You got to shut down their running game, and you got to force Manny Wilkins to make mistakes. He will naturally make mistakes if you shut down the running game, okay? Unfortunately for the Renegades, they're the same thing. You shut down the Renegades' running game, and Luis Perez makes a bunch of mistakes. They need play action. They need boot action to get people open. The receivers are not the best, okay? So this is a pretty even game. Like I thought the DC game was going to be, and I mean, DC smacked that Battlehawk butt because Manny Wilkins pooped all over the bed, okay? All right? Not really. He didn't actually poop on a bed. That was just a saying I've heard one time. Okay? So I have the Arlington Renegades winning 28-22 at home. 28-22. That's going to hit 50, which will be the over. I think both teams will be able to move the ball. I think both defenses will make enough mistakes in play action that both teams can score points. I think both quarterbacks will make critical errors, but I think Manny Wilkins will make one more critical error than Luis Perez, and Arlington will win 28-22. That's my prediction. Okay. All right, next. Boom. Saturday, April 19th, 7 p.m. Eastern. Now, I didn't put the channels on here for whatever reason. I don't know if I normally put channels on here. I can't remember. But I am telling you I can go to the channels tomorrow if you ask. But if you don't, if you just want to look at the UFL website, it's called theufl.com. You can check out the schedule there and see the TV channels. Yeah, so I'm not here pushing TV. They're not paying me for advertisement. I wish they would. If they want to, they can send me a sponsorship. I'll take a sponsorship, or I can make content for you, like I'm doing for footballanalysis1.com, or UFL News Hub or CFL News Hub. Let me know if you want to make content. I will do so. Now include your channel every time. Fox, ABC, ESPN. That's all of them. That's it. Okay. All right. FS1, which is Fox. Okay. All right. Saturday, April 19th at 7 p.m. So during at 12:30 p.m., you got the Battlehawks and Arlington Renegades. I'm picking the Renegades to upset the Battlehawks. If I was going to gamble on the game, which I am not, I would pick the Arlington Renegades. I'd probably pick Arlington Renegades with the points. Okay. I think they're going to win by more than 1.5 points. Okay. So we'll go back a step. I picked them with the points, meaning if they did win, but they only lost by 1 point, you would still win. I believe they're going to win outright in an upset, so the plus 1.5 is awesome. Now, you probably would make a little less money with the plus 1.5, so you could just pick them straight up on the money line, but you could take them with the points too, okay, with the extra 1.5 points. I think if you were a gambling type, you would probably take the money line because you get more money for that than with the 1.5 points. Okay. Saturday, April 19th at night, 7 p.m. Easter Eve. Whoop, whoop. Easter Eve. Okay. The Birmingham Stallions travel to the Houston Roughnecks. This has the signs of an ugly matchup, although Houston did beat Memphis last week. And they hung on against Arlington, and Arlington hung against Birmingham. It could be crazy, but I think that blip against Arlington was simply because the Renegades have a very easy game plan to stop. You stop the running game, and you force Luis Perez to be contained. He doesn't have a great deep ball, unless it's play action. So Birmingham Stallions are a more complete team than what the Houston Roughnecks played last week against Memphis. They're probably the most complete team they have faced this season. They have a few adjustments on their offensive line because of injuries, but Matt Corral is questionable. He's questionable. They do have some other quarterbacks. That might be what gets them beat, honestly. I don't suspect so. I think if I'm the Birmingham Stallions, I come out with a superior offensive line to the Houston Roughnecks. Houston Roughnecks' offensive line is good, but I think they can run some screens, run some boots. They have more diversity in their play calls. I think Birmingham Stallions are better coached than the Houston Roughnecks. And I mean, yes, I mean C.J. Johnson is the worst coach in the league. Well, maybe not anymore. Ken Wisenhunt left, and Wade Phillips tapped out. Tap, 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 he tapped out. So probably C.J. Johnson's the 6th worst coach in the league. Okay, 6th worst coach in the league. So I think Skip Holtz is still probably the best coach in the league, honestly. So that alone puts Birmingham. They're both, Birmingham's 2-1 in first place in the UFL Conference. Houston Roughnecks are 1-2. And then last place, third place. They're not last place. Memphis is at 0-3. Okay, all right. DraftKings says Birmingham Stallions are the favorite on the road, 7.5-point favorite, putting the Houston Roughnecks at a 7.5 underdog. Will anyone be in the stands? No one knows. Probably not. No one cares. So everybody wants to see Birmingham play. Over/under 36.5. Here's what I say. I say Birmingham comes out and has their best game of the season. They build some momentum. They beat the Houston Roughnecks 32-9 is what I say. I think the Roughnecks will have a hard time finishing drives against the Birmingham Stallions. I think they'll turn the ball over and get the Stallions some short fields, and that will allow the Stallions to put it to the Houston Roughnecks. So I say 32-9 Stallions, which puts the total score at 41. I think the Stallions have been frustrated from the last couple of weeks. They may be willing, to put the boots to the proverbial butts of the Houston Roughnecks and smack them down and reassert their dominance over the Houston Roughnecks. They need to let the USFL Conference know we're not the same as the Michigan Panthers. They're not like us, okay? Even though we're both 2-1, we're a different 2-1, okay? So they're going to come in here willing to beat down the Houston Roughnecks. I have to go with the over 41 because I do think the Birmingham Stallions will put it to the Houston Roughnecks. They don't want to be looking like they're a mid team. You know what I'm saying? If you go with that slang, mid. Okay, so if I was gonna gamble on this, I'd pick the Birmingham Stallions. Not with the points because it's too risky with them. I would go money line Birmingham Stallions. They're going to win the game. And I would go 41 over. If I go under, I go over on that. But that's the best bet is Birmingham Stallions with the money line. I think they're going to win the game for sure. I don't know by how much. I got 32-9 though. I think it's going to be a domination. All right. Next, San Antonio Brahmas. It's Sunday, April 20th, Easter, 5 p.m. Easter afternoon game. Boom, probably on ESPN or whatever. Okay, I don't know. I have to take a look. I'm not being paid to make their advertisements. Pay me, UFL. I'm not a bootlicker, y'all. Here's what happened. San Antonio Brahmas, now they're without Wade Phillips. Peyton Party's their new head coach. He's been bumped up. He's still running the offense. Now they got Jack Welch helping him out from the IFA, San Antonio Caballeros. Boom. They're 0-3. They lost a huge opportunity last week because they could not put the ball in the end zone. They could drive the ball to the red zone, and they had to keep settling for field goals, which beat them in the end because who's destroying his credibility as a YouTuber because he makes all these fancy kick tricks, but now he can't hit the game winner. He's destroying his credibility. Hopefully he'll move up. Football Scientific. Let's go. 0-3 San Antonio, have a hard time protecting their passer, have a hard time getting the running game going, have a hard time stopping offenses. This is the worst case scenario, I think, for San Antonio as they travel to the DC Defenders, who are 3-0 and riding the momentum of a great defense, who shuts down your running game and abuses your quarterback. That's all bad. That's all bad for San Antonio, okay? I don't see any good for San Antonio. If they won this game, it would be the biggest surprise I have seen all spring, okay? But DraftKings agrees with me. They have the DC Defenders at home as a 7-point favorite, and I have DraftKings has San Antonio Brahmas as a 7-point underdog. They have under/over at 38.5. I don't think either team can score that many points, so I got DC Defenders and their defense coming out and dominating, including that Mincy dude who got Defensive Player of the Week. I got them dominating, but not completely. I have San Antonio putting up a bit of a fight. I got DC with 24, Brahmas with 12. Okay, Brahmas with 12. Now, that DC offense is inconsistent. So if I was going to gamble on this, which I am not, I would pick DC on the money line. Okay, they're going to win the game for sure. I don't know by how much. Over-under is 38.5. I got it at 36. I think it's going to go under. I don't think DC needs to score that many points to beat San Antonio. San Antonio would need to explode offensively, have their best offensive game of the year to win this game. I just don't feel it. It's sad. Because I love the Brahmins, but I just don't feel it. I don't think it's going to happen. IFL. First transaction. Bunch of transactions today. Mass Pirates are trying to rebuild their defensive backfield. They placed the Jacksonville Sharks again this week. Massachusetts has signed defensive back Destin Mack. Early today, they signed defensive back Ty Smith. Both come from NFL experience. Destin Mack with the Jacksonville Jaguars and Ty Smith with the Tennessee Titans. They put Donnie Lewis on short-term IR, and they moved DB, CJ Holmes. It's all defensive backs. Two of them have moved to short-term IR, meaning they're going to be out for 14 days. Okay. Tucson Sugar Skulls making some crazy moves. They have so much. I have 2 pages of crazy moves. Okay. First, Jorge Reyna got cut by the San Antonio Gunslingers yesterday. He got signed by the Tucson Sugar Skulls. Why? Because they cut their quarterback, Iman Caldwell, after 1 week after he threw a ton of interceptions and lost the game for them. They could have beaten the Sharks, but Iman Caldwell was not ready for that action. So they signed Jorge Reyna, okay, from the Gunslingers. They also did a trade with the Arizona Rattlers for quarterback Larry Tripp Harrington, a dual threat quarterback. Dual threat quarterbacks go really well in this league. He played for Frisco as a backup. He's coming to Tucson. They're looking for an upgrade. Jorge Reyna will be a big upgrade at quarterback. And he's had experience with Billy Back, and Larry Tripp Harrington has experience with Billy Back. They traded offensive lineman Javion Caldwell to the Arizona Rattlers, so they really didn't lose much in that trade. Then they gained a quarterback. They really need a quarterback. So they got 2 quarterbacks now to work with, Jorge Reyna and Larry Harrington. Okay. Tucson Sugar Skulls also put on short-term IR, so they deactivated wide receiver Brandon Oakley, offensive lineman Cody Bullig, defensive lineman John McMullen, offensive lineman Darius James, and running back Jameis Williams. Okay, once again they released quarterback Iman Caldwell after 1 week after last week's disaster against the Sharks, and they released wide receiver Lorenzo Thompson, who's done nothing for them. Okay, got it. So that was the numerous moves by the Tucson Sugar Skulls. We'll see if it pays off for them. I say not this week. Maybe next week, but not this week. San Antonio Gunslingers, they add linebacker. They cut a bunch of people yesterday, so they added some people. They added linebacker Eric Rasco. Okay? They added wide receiver Jalen Robinson. They added defensive lineman Charles Gilbert. They're trying to rebuild that team so they can make a run to the playoffs. I predict they will make the run to the playoffs. Okay, Vegas Nighthawks signed defensive back Chu Ogbonna after they got destroyed by the San Diego Strike Force last week in that passing game. Okay, Arizona Rattlers in the trade with Tucson picked up offensive lineman Javion Caldwell, and they released offensive lineman Noel Afori Nialu. Boom. Boom. Okay, Iowa Barnstormers. They signed quarterback James Kahoo. So they got a new quarterback. That quarterback last week, he made a lot of mistakes. Threw a bunch of interceptions. You're not going to win games, especially for an air raid team in the IFL. That makes no sense. Air raid teams spread you out. You can't spread out indoor football. It's a wall, man. I don't know why they're doing that. It's silly. But they signed quarterback James Kahoo, and they put wide receiver Caleb Hood on IR. Okay. Why are you running a spread offense, air raid offense indoors? It doesn't make any sense. Okay, all right. IFL Week 5. Okay, so we went through the transactions. Here's the IFL Week 5. Well, last time I looked, I didn't see any line for the IFL. There probably is one. I'll probably have one tomorrow. I could go over that in the morning or something. I don't know. But I'm just going to do my predictions for it. So Saturday, April 19th, Easter Eve at 7:05 p.m. on the IFL Game Pass Network. I'll be watching. Massachusetts Pirates 1-2 after beating the Fisher Freight last week, traveled to the Jacksonville Sharks, who are 3-0, and beat the Pirates to open the season. Jacksonville Sharks, Massachusetts Pirates loaded up in their defensive backfield, looking to get some turnovers. I think they will not matter against the Jacksonville Sharks because their running game is so powerful, and Caleb Barker is willing to be a game manager and dump off crossing routes. I think those DBs will not make a big difference against Jacksonville. They will against some other teams like Iowa and Quad City and Green Bay. But not against the Jacksonville Sharks. I got Jacksonville winning this game 37-25 with a total score of 62 points on the over-under. We'll see what that matches up with DraftKings there in the future, I guess. Probably tomorrow. Boom, Saturday, April 19th, Easter Eve. Also at 7:05 p.m., we got the Bay Area Panthers, who are 2-1, traveling to the Fishers Freight, who are 2-1. This should be another awesome Fishers Freight game. I got this being a shootout, and I got the Fishers Freight winning it 42-37. They have to get their quarterback situation right, but both quarterbacks play well in Massachusetts. They're back home. Bay Area has to travel, which is tough for them. It's tough for every team in the IFL to travel. We're going to Fishers for the first time. There should be a big crowd. It should be very loud. I think it's going to be tough conditions for Bay Area Panthers to play in. So I got Fishers running 42-37. 42-37. And the over-under total will be 79. I don't know if that's over or under because I don't know the DraftKings numbers. Saturday, April 19th, Easter Eve, 8:05 p.m. Eastern. We got the San Antonio Gunslingers traveling to the Tulsa Oilers, 1-2 versus 1-2. Both teams have had a rough start. Tulsa knocked off San Antonio to start the season and San Antonio. I think it'll be more of the same, but I think they'll score more. Both teams are scoring more points now. Their offenses are picking up. Tulsa surprised me last week, scoring 68 points. Unfortunately, they kept pummeling snaps in crunch time and really could not hold their water to beat the Green Bay Blizzard. But they're at home this time against the Tulsa Oilers. I got Tulsa win this game 40-33, 73 total points score. We'll see if that's an over-under later. Okay, next, Saturday, April 19th, 9:05 p.m. Eastern. I got the Tucson Sugar Skulls traveling to the Northern Arizona Wranglers on Easter Eve. Tucson Sugar Skulls are 0-2. Northern Arizona Wranglers are 0-2. Both teams are desperate for a win. The Sugar Skulls got a new quarterback. It's going to be crazy. I'm going to make a quick change. I got, with all the changes, I did have Northern Arizona win this game earlier today, but with all the changes, I got the Tucson Sugar Skulls getting their first win at Northern Arizona, 35-29, which will be 64 total points. That's a change right now. I got Tucson winning this game because they got Jorge Reyna, who they didn't have before. I think that will be a difference maker. Northern Arizona Wranglers, they are not great on offense. They are sputtering. I think it's 35-29. Tucson on the road getting their first win of the season with Billy back. Okay, next. Northern Arizona, whatever. Okay. National Arena League, the NAL. Can we watch it on YouTube? I don't think so. I don't know if we can watch anything. They said it wasn't because of copyright. But where can you watch the games? This is the best week of games and we can't watch them? Come on, NAL. I should quit covering them. But I'm going to go one more week. We'll see if they get it figured out, okay? So Friday, April 18th. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, the Beaumont Renegades, 2-0, travel to the Columbus Lions. Beaumont has beaten the top two teams in the league, Omaha Beat and Sioux City Bandits. Now they have to travel to the Columbus Lions. Beaumont's 2-0. Columbus Lions are 1-1. Both have great defenses. I think Columbus will turn the ball over quite a bit. Beaumont will take takeaways and score. So I got Beaumont Renegades win this game 37-28. 65 total points scored. It's going to be a grinded out game. I think Beaumont will win in the end. But Columbus Lions could win. They're much better. They're much better at home. Okay? That would be the most points they scored all season, though. Just saying. Okay. They turned the ball over a ton against the Carolina Cobras last time they played them. And they changed the quarterback since then. Carolina Cobras, they have a quarterback revolving door. I don't know who's going to play quarterback for them. No one knows who's going to play quarterback for them. Okay? The last quarterback they played with Idaho, against Idaho, he played horrible. Why did they even play that guy? He was horrible. Okay? James Summers was the dude to play. Maybe he's not available. Maybe he's trying to quit. It's hard to say in the NAL. It's very volatile. We got the Carolina Cobras traveling to the Wheeling Miners. They played the Wheeling Miners twice at home, beating their 1-1. Wheeling Miners are ascending. The Carolina Cobras are descending. They lost to the Idaho Horsemen. That's a big deal, okay? Record-wise, Carolina is 2-3. Wheeling is 1-3. I got the Wheeling Miners winning this game, 33-28, total 61. Who's really going to win, though? No telling. But I think Wheeling will be better at home than they were on the road, and they won by quite a bit on the road. Next, Saturday, April 19th, Easter Eve. In the NAL, we got Sioux City Bandits 2-1 traveling to the Omaha Beef, a rematch of last year's NAL championship game. The Omaha Beef are coming off a harsh win against the Beaumont Renegades, which they were really kind of embarrassed after losing that game. There was no fans in the stands. The field's painted by hand, and the Omaha Beef had the coolest stuff in the league, and they got beat. Sioux City Bandits, they played in the championship game last year. They got beat by Beaumont also. So it's the teams who got beat by Beaumont facing off. I got the Omaha Beef winning this matchup 44-42. I think with the new head coach, they don't want to lose 2 games in a row. And the Sioux City Bandits tend to make mistakes. But I think they'll leave the door open for Omaha to get the win and get back on the winning side. Total amount of points, 86. Should be a shootout. Should be a fun game. Okay? Saturday, April 19th. Notice everyone's trying to stay away from Easter except for the UFL. Well, 70 fans are at the UFL game. Probably not that many. Okay, Sunday, April 19th, we got the Idaho Horsemen, 2-2, going to Colorado Spartans, who are technically 2-2. I think they're 2-1 in the NAL, but they won last week. They're having their best season ever, probably in NAL. They're facing the Idaho Horsemen, who have a much more functional offense. Colorado runs the ball really well. Okay, they don't have much of a passing game. Idaho throws the ball really well and has limited running game. It's going to be a pretty good matchup of teams that do different. They're mirror images, except they're complete opposite. Idaho Horse, that's a mirror image, y'all. They're the same, but opposite. Idaho Horsemen, 2-2, can't run the ball well. Colorado Spartans, 2-1, maybe 2-2. Don't throw the ball well. Throw a lot of interceptions, okay? I got the Horsemen riding the emotion of winning against Carolina Cobras last week. Taking them over to Colorado Spartans and winning 36-34 in a crazy shootout. That would be best case scenario, 70 points scored total. That's my prediction for the NAL. Okay, in the CFL, the Montreal Alouettes, national kicker David Cote, who was my kicker in the fantasy league last year, retired. They got to get a new kicker, bro. All right, CFL, okay, so we've been talking about the NFL, NFL Power Rankings, NFL Draft, NFL Mock Draft. First round, I did that during the week. FootballAnalysisOne.com. My first article for the Bengals last night was about their mock draft, their 7-round mock draft. Okay, so we're doing a lot of NFL draft situations. But at the end of the month, a little after the NFL draft, we had the 2 CFL drafts. During the day at 11 o'clock, we had the CFL Global Draft. 2 rounds, and we have the CFL regular draft at that evening at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, something like that. That's 8 rounds, so there will be 10 players selected to each of these teams. So I want to go over to my power rankings before they go to the draft and change their teams around. This is based on what they did in free agency and what they have from last year. So number 1 in the league, I have to be in the Toronto Argonauts once again. Best defense, best offense, best coaching staff. Ownership, but fan base is real fickle and unpleasant. I don't know. They don't get to the games. They think they're going to win all the time. Number 2, Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They have what it takes to win. Can they stay healthy? Last year they had health issues, but they ended up going back to the Grey Cup, so I think they're consistent. Number 3, Saskatchewan Roughriders. They made a big push last year. They tried to take over the West, and they came up just a little bit short. They keep adding pieces. I think they're going to be a dangerous team in the West again. BC Lions are going to take a step back. They traded Burnett and moved Burnett and Jr. They have Nathan Rourke. There's no guarantee Nathan Rourke's even going to finish the season. It's a long season. He wants to go to the NFL. He might tap out. He's the highest paid quarterback in the CFL, though. But they did move a lot of pieces. I don't know if they'll be better or not. Right now, I got BC Lions at number 4. So in the West, I would have the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, number 1 seed. Saskatchewan Roughriders, number 2 seed. BC Lions, number 3 seed in the playoffs, okay, which seems reasonable to me. Montreal Alouettes. Now, BC Lions have the best ownership in the league, mental note. Just saying. So they have the coolest stuff. But I think they're the 3rd place team in the West. Number 5, Montreal Alouettes. I got them being good, but not as good as they have been. They're going to take a step back, leaving room for either Hamilton to step up or Ottawa to step up. Which one steps up? Ooh, I don't know. It might be, it might be the next team. Calgary Stampeders at number 6. They could end up being a crossover if they outwin Hamilton Ticats and Ottawa Red Blacks. Then the Red Blacks will probably be better, but I see some structural issues with the Red Blacks right now, and I think that may run into issues down the stretch, okay? Number 7, I got the Edmonton Elks. They've rebuilt that defensive line. The Elks' name is cursed. I don't know if they can overcome that curse. They have Ed Harvey as their GM, which Hamilton Ticats fans know he's good for 6 wins, okay? So I'd say Edmonton's still good for 6 wins, and they'll be last place in the West, okay? Number 8, I got the Hamilton Tiger Cats, just because I can't pick the Ottawa Red Blacks over the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Hamilton, our defense is still a big question mark. We should have the best offense in the league. Best offense in the league. Hopefully not the worst defense in the league. If we don't have the worst defense in the league, we're definitely the 8th team. But I also think we're going to be the 3rd place team in the East and go back to the playoffs, beat the Montreal Alouettes, knock off the hated Toronto Argonauts, and win their first Grey Cup since 1999. Well, I got them at number 8, but I have them making the playoffs in the East. Number 9, Ottawa Red Blacks. I'm just under Hamilton Tigers, missing the playoffs. I got Hamilton making a dream run to the Grey Cup. Why not? Why not? Okay. Okay. NFL. Browns GM Andrew Berry. Travis Hunter said yesterday, I'm going to retire if anyone drafts me and doesn't let me play both ways. Well, I predicted the Browns are going to draft Travis Hunter, and this makes sense. Their GM Andrew Berry said, I could see him playing both ways. He's like the Shohei Ohtani of the NFL, even though he's not in the NFL yet. He's going to be like Shohei Ohtani. Yeah, he can play both ways. So they're saying, oh, yep, we got you, bro. All right, quarterback Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show. He was very non-committal. He says, open to anything. He's not attached to a return to football. He might even retire. He doesn't know. He's just going to hit some more hot ayahuasca tea and be in the dark room and see what happens next. He doesn't care. He does care. He wants to win a Super Bowl. That's what he cares about. He just doesn't know how to do it. With the Jets. Yup. And now with the Steelers. Or with the Saints. With the Minnesota Vikings. Maybe. But they don't want him. All right, Travis Hunter, if he gets, he's made some bold statements. If he gets drafted by the Las Vegas Raiders, he'll be the next Charles Woodson. Boom. And help them win a Super Bowl. Boom. He's going to get drafted by the Browns, y'all. Let's quit messing around. Las Vegas Raiders said they're looking, they could make a trade. Quarterback Aiden O'Connell for a day 3 draft pick. They're saying, trade bait. Aiden O'Connell, trade bait. We can replace him with anyone and get the same mileage. Trade bait. San Francisco 49ers, they have signed offensive line Austin Pleasant and tight end Jake Tongus, missing a U, to 1-year extensions. They agreed to contract tenders with them. So that means they'll be official soon. Got pending a physical. Buffalo Bills cornerback Trey White signed a 1-year deal with the Buffalo Bills for $6.8 million. He had left the Buffalo Bills last year, but he's coming back. He's ready to go help the Bills win a Super Bowl. No, make the AFC Championship game. I don't know. They never won a Super Bowl. They did cut tight end Armani Rogers and defensive tackle Branson Dean. Boom. Pittsburgh Steelers. People are now, experts are saying they should stop messing around with Aaron Rodgers. Look for a quarterback in the draft. Maybe Shedeur Sanders if he drops to pick 21. Okay, probably the Louisville quarterback, Tyler Schoaf. That's probably who they should pick, really. I think they should give up on Aaron Rodgers, focus on drafting a quarterback, and maybe Ryan Tannehill, if he's available, he can get re-signed, he can get signed by the Pittsburgh Steelers and rejoin their offensive guard, Arthur Smith. He was kind of good with Arthur Smith when he was the OC at Tennessee, and Ryan Tannehill was there, and they kept losing to the Bengals. I hope they end up with Ryan Tannehill. We need the Steelers to lose to the Bengals. Next, ESPN Mel Kiper, their draft expert. That's all he does. He says, Shedeur Sanders, he should go to the Saints. They're pick 9, though. We'll see if it makes it that long. Miami Dolphins, I think I had the Saints picking him. I could be Mel Kiper. I don't have the hair. I don't look like an owl. But I could be Mel Kiper. Shedeur Sanders to the Saints. I said that. Poof. I'm Mel Kiper. I'm better than Mel Kiper. I got a hat. I don't need poofy hair, bro. Okay, Miami Dolphins, cornerback Jalen Ramsey, they're looking to trade him. He's saying, hey, I could play for the Raiders. That sounds cool. I like Vegas. Or the Tennessee Titans, because I'm from there. I guess I could go home. But he'd like to go to the Raiders. Aha, Vegas, let's go have some fun. That's why he went to Miami. He wanted to go have some fun. But there was no parking at the beach. Oh, so now he's mad. So he needs to get traded because he needs to go find a place that's fun but has available parking. And he can just use an Uber at the Las Vegas. He doesn't even need parking. And there's the whole place in the desert. The whole place is the beach. They can park anywhere and go to the beach. Dallas Cowboys offensive lineman Tyron Smith. They moved him to the reserve, retired list. They're like, nah, he ain't playing. So they signed offensive lineman Hakeem Adeniji. The Tennessee Titans are clearing house, getting ready for some big moves, or just trying to save some money. They signed offensive lineman. Oh, wait. I have it wrong. They cleared moves last week. Now they're adding some people. They signed offensive lineman Brendan James. Jamies. They have offensive lineman Sam Mustapler. They have offensive lineman Oli Udall. Udall. I don't know if that's Udo, I bet. That's Udo, not Oodle. Oodle sounds funnier, though. They cut offensive lineman Nicholas Petrie-Ferrer. Even though they drafted him in 2022, he's played 28 games. He started 28 games over 3 seasons. He's been pretty good. But they're like, no, we need to rebuild this offensive line, which is true because Will Levis is a train wreck. And if they get Cam Ward, they don't want him quitting. They don't want him quitting and going, I can't do this, y'all. This is a train wreck. Will Levis, you should do it. Because you're tough. You need to be tough to be a Tennessee Titans quarterback. In the ELF, the Farivar Enthroners in Hungary, they signed defensive lineman Michael Badejo. And the Cologne Centurions in their drive to try and turn around their existence from being all-time losers to being a championship team have signed their last American import for the season, defensive back Shedeur Kirk, who played at Kentucky Wesleyan College, Division II, Kentucky Wesleyan College, UFL, Pittsburgh Maulers, and Arena Football League Nashville Cats. Now he's in the ELF in Cologne, Germany. Whoop, whoop. All right, so that's my prediction. That's the Prediction-Palooza. I may go back tomorrow and give the channels for the UFL, but I'd rather have them pay me to go over the channels for UFL. Let's go, The Rock. Pay me. Pay me. NAL games, we'll see if we can watch them or not. I'm going to test the channel out tomorrow and see if it's back up. If it is, I'll get back on here and tell you if we can watch the NAL games. I don't know. They're all on Saturday, I think. So, all right. Now there's some on Friday, so we should check it tomorrow morning, I guess. All right, so hope you enjoyed this episode of Football Scientific. Remember, check out the UFL News Hub, CFL News Hub, FootballAnalysisOne.com. All NFL all the time. And then the Substack, I've given up on the Substack. Don't worry about Substack. But you can also like this video and subscribe to this channel if you would like to do so. The Football Scientific portal has closed. Have a good night.